Luna Park and Dreamland on Coney Island in 1903. World's Fairs of 1939, 62 and 65. These places are the stuff of dreams. All of them vanished long ago, but now you can visit them, many in vivid color. Long gone performers and attractions in The Carnival's Been and Gone, a 2.5-hour DVD that lets you shoot the chutes at Coney Island 100 years ago. Ride the rides at Luna Park and steeplechase when they lit up the night with wonder. Ride the parachute jump, the Silver Streak. Actually see inside many shows. See what they're doing in the Ecstasy Girl Show. And look inside 4 girl shows, all in sparkling color.
Now I can stand out here and tell you that on the inside we have shake dances, oriental dances, exotic dances, the little lady that does the dance of temptation. You boys that have been to the Hudson Theater in New Jersey, you know what I'm talking about there.
You'll see the human automobile tire and the man who hangs himself. Zip and Pip, the pinheads. Princess Lala, the fat lady. Albert Alberta, the half-man, half-woman.
The strangest sight from the island. Bricks from the 4 corners of the world. Fortune nickels, 1 dime, a 10th part of $1. We've got the show if you've got the dime. It's just starting, so hurry, hurry. Look 'em over, the lady without a head. They're all inside.
These places have vanished, but you've heard about them all your life. The films have been rescued and restored, shaky images stabilized, faded color brought back to vivid life. Shot by people who were there in the glory days of legendary amusements. This is no idle tour of high-minded cultural exhibits. You'll see Billy Rose's Aquacade, Nature's Greatest Mistakes, The Midget City. Watch Gully Gully, King of Magic, and the Wonder Mouse Pitchman. Dozens of legendary attractions, over 2.5 hours of wonder. You might not believe it, but there was a carnival here just last week. Half this parking lot was filled with joints, rides, and so many people you could scarcely squeeze between them. But if anybody comes back now, they're going to be mighty disappointed. All they'll find is an empty parking lot, some closed stores, and maybe a popcorn box or a candy apple stick in the gutter somewhere. Because the carnival's been and gone. That's the nature of carnivals and fairs. They come for a week, and then they're gone. But we've happened upon some really unusual motion pictures, and I'm going to share them with you today. It's really surprising that any of this has survived. Back from the turn of the century, some old film taken by Thomas Edison's crews, preserved only because it was submitted to the Library of Congress, printed on photographic paper. The image quality isn't that great, but it's a chance to look at amusements from over 100 years ago. And some film from around World War II and the 50s and the 60s. We're going to look at them all, and I promise some big surprises. There's a lot of carnival, sometimes more than the locals are comfortable with, in every one of them. In the early years of motion pictures, the late 1800s and early 1900s, audiences were fascinated by views of real life. First, by everyday sights that were exciting simply because they moved. Then by views of wonders from the far corners of the world, things they couldn't see any other way. There was no provision in the copyright law then for motion pictures, so film companies printed their movies on rolls of photographic paper and registered their copyright as if they were still photographs, some as late as 1915. The image quality is poor by modern standards, but these prints survive while the actual nitrate motion picture film has long since crumbled to dust. So, on this amazing time machine, let's go back 100 years and even farther, and we too can wonder at some long-gone sights, scenes that can thrill us as easily as they thrilled people a century ago. In 1901, you had to see the Pan American Exposition to believe it. The sensation of the fair was the wonder of the age, electricity. Lots of it, supplied by the new dynamos at Niagara. Electrical exhibits everywhere. Electric lights covering the buildings. Incandescent lamps were just becoming available for wide use. And the crowning achievement, the electric tower. A huge electrically powered cataract tumbling 70 feet at its base. At its pinnacle, the goddess of light. And at night, a brilliant searchlight, like nothing you've ever seen, aimed down onto the crowds. In 1915, Keystone sent its stars, Fatty Arbuckle and Mabel Normand, to the San Diego World's Fair, the Panama Pacific International Exposition. The fair was meant to celebrate the opening of the Panama Canal and to promote San Diego as the first port of call for ships passing through the canal. The film was made to advertise the fair, but spent most of its time showing streetcars, taxis, a couple of ships, and endless scenes of Mabel and Fatty shaking hands with dignitaries. There was so much to see, a 5-acre reproduction of the canal. Every day the fair was open, there was a demonstration of a transcontinental phone call. And at night, the scintillator, a battery of 36 searchlights, manned by a company of Marines, beaming intense light in 7 colors in precise patterns across San Francisco's fog banks. Rising above it all was the 43-story Tower of Jewels, covered with 102,000 pieces of cut Bohemian glass and glistening in the beams of the searchlights at night. For New Yorkers, Coney Island was the place to get away from it all. Possibly the farthest thing from the pretension of a World's Fair, Coney Island was close, affordable, easily accessible by excursion boat or train or subway, and always spectacular. Almost in your own backyard, and you could see sights there that you couldn't see anywhere else, from the exotic and provocative to the strange, sometimes all in a single attraction. Shooting the Chutes was a popular ride, a feature attraction at almost every park. An Edison crew took this film in 1896 at Captain Boynton's Water Park, the original amusement park on Coney Island. Here's the version at Luna Park in 1903. Later, you'll see my good friends Rube and Mandy shooting the chutes at Dreamland. Gotta have one of those famous Coney dogs. Rube and Mandy at Steeplechase Park. This ride is the famous Steeplechase horses. After a long, hot week working in New York, it's really nice to get out of the city, get some fresh sea air, and ride a cow. Rube's never been in Boy Scouts, has he? Wait a minute, when this was made, there weren't any Boy Scouts. There wouldn't be any for another 7 years. This ride is a big slide called the Down and Out. These two were the best actors Edison could get in 1903. Mandy had potential, but Rube single-handedly gave actors a bad name. Now we're at Dreamland, and we're going to take a careful look around. But where are our two friends? There they are, upsetting everyone else on the stairway. Nice camel. Nice camel. They're not paying me enough to get near this smelly camel. Just get on the camel, Mandy, or you'll never work in this town again. I had to wait in line an hour for this ride, and that's all the longer it lasts? Professor Wormwood's Monkey Theater, where the performers are, as the name implies, dogs. This film seems almost unbearably crude, if charmingly naive. But it was directed by Edwin S. Porter, who also made The Great Train Robbery. We're looking at the birth of narrative film, a bridge between simply recording sights and events and telling a story. This is the art of filmmaking being invented. The miniature train brings them back to the Central Plaza, and then it's time to shoot the chutes. For a gentler water ride, go to the Old Mill. This is what passed for comedy in early motion pictures. I guess it's not too different from what passes for comedy in the movies today. Come here, big guy. Ring the bell and win a prize for the pretty lady. Darn couple of rubes. I wonder what that guy's name was. Hot dogs. I've heard about these. Do you think they're safe to eat? Nobody has yet learned to tell the people in the background, don't look at the camera. Mandy, take it from me. Ditch Rube. He's holding back your acting career.
A family, the Gallaghers. Connie Ann, 5 years old, and Colina Sue, 2.5, are a big help to Mother Luella, who is no mean hand with a handful of knives. Connie Ann is a veteran at being a target for her mother's cutlery and doesn't turn a hair at Ma's cut-ups, even though Ma's pretty sharp with the cleavers. But Connie's ready for a stand-in, and evidently Colina Sue has more trust in Mother's aim than the audience has. It takes a steady eye and a stout heart to heave knives at the apple of your eye. But this female William Tell has no qualms and plenty of faith. A near miss, but this miss says it's as good as a smile. Put yourself in her place. Well, I just tried, but gosh, I'm too bashful. One side, baseball. The Wild West is here in Yankee Stadium. Not baseball. Today it's rodeo time. Ken Maynard and Tarzan salute the thrill-hungry fans. And yes, this has its moments. When Bernice sways 130 feet above your heads, well, that's a home run of a different kind, and no time for an error. Up there, you've got to be on the ball every precious second. Bernice uses no net. Roundup time in Manhattan continues. Gregoresco is billed as the man who hangs himself. Hold on, here he goes. He was neck and neck with death, but he made it. He was neck and neck with death, but he made it.
Skinny, the circus is coming to town. A complete menagerie, ferocious beasts of the forest. Nothing lacking to make this the biggest little show on earth. An educated quadruped in every cage. The line forms to the right, so don't get left. Step right up, gang, the show is on. When the cat's away, the rats will play. But in this case, it's not just a plain ordinary rat. It's a trained Russian hooded rodent. Up the ladder like a smoke eater, and 2 steps at a time, mind you. A big hand for the daredevil while the ringmaster lines up the next act. Here's a rat who knows the ropes. He's the clown prince of the aerial circus, and he likes to give his variation on an old theme, the fine art of flagpole sitting. But you can't work up on a job like that, so it's down again. Give this rat enough rope and he'll tie himself into knots trying to please the customers. Fencing is his favorite sport, and he climbs this one with the greatest of ease, this daring young rat on the flying trapeze. Or maybe there's a cat in the audience, and he's trying to disguise himself as a revolving door. And now for the grand finale, presenting Archie in the leap for life, through a dangerous hoop of fire. It's terrific. It's better than that. It's sensational. It's much too high. Happy landing, the bullseye, and the show's over. Aw, rats.
Coney Island in 1952. A colorful subject for a creative filmmaker with a 16mm camera and a little cinematic vision. This is an artistic impression of Coney Island dawn to dusk in the cinematic style of mid-20th century creative filmmakers who produced short subjects without an educational or theatrical or television market in mind, but just for the joy of expressing themselves in this newly accessible medium. Narrator Henry Morgan was a New York radio personality and a frequent guest star on TV shows in the 50s. Composer Albert Haig would go on to write the music for How the Grinch Stole Christmas and to act on screen as the music teacher in the TV series Fame. The only remaining print looked like a black and white film, but there was the barest hint of color in the image, now faded almost out of existence. A lot of digital processing brought back some of the original color. The image is far from perfect, but the result is a remarkable save. This must have once been a very colorful picture. So, let's have a little cinematic art. The year is 1952, and we're going to Coney Island, USA.
This is the world-famous skyline of New York City. Well, a part of it. A part that nobody ever sees. Coney Island is actually in the city of New York. But nobody who's been to Coney Island has ever seen nobody at Coney Island. Because this clean, so clean, empty beach, with the trash baskets lined up at attention in perfect rows, looks like this only once a day, when the big city's still in bed. The beach and this painted village lying quiet in the early morning sun is Coney Island. New York swelters in the summer, and as the sun rises higher in the hot sky, millions of people leave the baking streets and go down to the seaside, down to Coney Island, USA. People come to Coney Island just for fun. And all the odd pieces of equipment and the peculiar rides which go round and round to nowhere have to be tested and oiled every day. You see, a lot of the fun is machine-made fun. show is almost ready. Pull back the curtain. And now they're coming. A few by car, but mostly by subway. From Brooklyn and the Bronx, from Manhattan, from Kansas City, from Paris. All coming to Stillwell Avenue, the station for Coney Island. And now they're here. Welcome to Coney Island, playground of the world.
Let's play the Coney Island Star game. Come in and win a live canary bird, a bandy dial, a nickel. You gotta roll them down to win them a nickel. On it, Brown. All right. What? On it, Brown. Right them up here. What are you waiting for? Stand low. Come on, take a ride. Start the last front ride. Here it is. On them on. Come on, and last ride all the way through. Come on, almost. No up, still down. All up. I'll have a ride, 5-minute ride, and you must come out with a smile. Laugh ride.
Your money and you takes your choice. You can be spun, banged, turned upside down, or half killed. You pays your money and you takes your choice. You and I, the ocean and the sun. You and I, alone.
this time, I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that you're standing in front of one of the fastest stepping girl shows on the Avenue, bar none. I make that statement without fearing contradiction. Now, I could stand out here and tell you that on the inside we have shake dances, oriental dances, exotic dances, the little lady that does the dance of temptation. You boys that have been to the Hudson Theater in New Jersey, you know what I'm talking about there.
It's getting to be about time for the sun worshippers to go home. Baby's tired, mommy's worn out, daddy's exhausted. Some of the ladies and gentlemen are stepping into their evening clothes. Time to go home. Evening, and now this becomes a magic island. Tell me, what of the night? Will I be happy? Will I meet a tall, dark, handsome? These are the secrets of the night. One of the leading attractions of Coney Island, as many people know, is that it's one place where girl meets boy.
Automobile pump, then he's going to face the other end of the pump in his mouth, down to the pit of his stomach, and then they start pumping that young man up until his stomach inflates to about 10 or 15 times its normal size.
One thing about our island is that not all of the pretty girls are single.
That every mother, father, sister, and brother should see. Now it's a mighty good time to go, and all so realistic and lifelike. Now this is a show for ladies, gentlemen, as well as children, going on all the time. Stay as long as you like, come out when you like. Our greatest exhibit, man, woman, or child, has ever set eyes on since they're born. So let's...
Gentlemen, right now you happen to be standing in front of Tears's famous Swine Bath Review. You're not going to come out of here satisfied if you get a peek. You want a darn good look, and I don't blame you. That's what you're going to get. Now, that doesn't mean that the ladies can't go. Ladies can go as well as the men. But we don't want you ladies to feel for one moment that you're going to a Sunday school picnic. We don't want any trouble, and furthermore, we don't give anybody their money back. We don't want to have you ladies buy a ticket, go inside, run all the way up front to the first row, the bald-headed section, look at one, maybe two numbers at the most, then come out here, tap me on the shoulder, get all excited, say, hey, mister, give me my money back. You shocked my modesty. I didn't expect that kind of a show.
Looka. Watch the pretty lights. Looka. See the funny mirrors. Watch the world twist and bend and slide out of shape. Step right up, ladies and gentlemen. Grab a star by the tail. Take a trip to the moon. Looka. That's the way it looks when a day at Coney Island comes to the end.
I have a wonderful half hour for you. It's a view you probably haven't seen of the amusements at the 1939 New York World's Fair in full color. These remarkable films were taken by a skilled amateur. Just another fair visitor, but one with a good eye, a steady hand, a high-end 8mm movie camera, and enough money to take over 5 hours of color film. As you watch, realize that these movies were made with a handheld camera in all sorts of lighting conditions. But computer image processing has made it possible to refresh the colors, steady shaky scenes, and go in a bit closer to some of the sights we want to see. It's a rare privilege to have a view so clear that it might have happened yesterday, that you could really feel like you were there. These movies were taken on a visit to the fair in fall 1939. As the nation emerged from the Great Depression, building the world of tomorrow with the tools of today seemed like a good idea. The world's leading thinkers, craftsmen, artists, the greatest minds and talents of the day, plus a vast pool of able-bodied citizens willing to get back to work and get a paycheck and tackle the making of a new and better world. As part of the recovery, a huge flood of government funding was suddenly available, earmarked for every sort of improvement. Industrial muscle of the most powerful nation on earth was ready to set things right, using the best ideas of urban planners and visionary scientists. Symbolizing the high aspiration of the fair's theme were the fair's symbols, the Trilon and the Perisphere, huge white structures that could be seen from miles away. And inside the Perisphere was the ideal the planners were striving to bring to reality: Democracy, a planned community of skyscrapers and industry with carefully delineated areas for families and leisure. Rational thinking and careful planning would bring about an ideal world, streamlined and sparkling clean and white in the dawn of a new day. New wonders were coming true every day. The first commercial television broadcast was made from the fair on opening day. Our view of the fair in the past has usually been in black and white. It is usually focused on the high ideals. But we're going to be what Westinghouse called Mr. and Mrs. Middleton, or maybe the Middleton Kids, Babs and Buddy, ordinary Americans who just don't know what to make of all that high-minded stuff and who just want to have fun. A lot of people wanted a big old slice of pie if they had to swallow the main fair's sensible diet. So we'll focus on the amusement area. The fair's planners were frankly embarrassed by the amusement area's carnival rides, human oddities, and multiple girly shows. But as one journalist wrote, in the amusement area, the fair drops its Harvard accent and turns into pure, unadulterated circus. So let's put ourselves in their place. It's an amazing opportunity, because as you and I ride the rides and see the shows, we can believe for a moment that at last now everything's going to be all right. What we don't know is that even as we take in the carnival fun, things are about to change in ways we can't imagine. While we watch Billy Rose's Aquacade, as these movies are being taken, Hitler's army is marching into Poland. The world is preparing for war, and we are the only people on Earth who don't know it. But that's not on our minds today. Let's pack the family into the car and get on the road. The fair is a vision of a bright future, and I hear it's wonderful.
should have worn more comfortable shoes, that's for sure. And we've just gotten here.
I tell you, honey, I haven't walked so much in one day since I was a Boy Scout. Look, there are some Boy Scouts, and they're tired of hiking.
Poor things.
Hey, look at the kid on top of the Perisphere. He looks like King Kong.
That was the first movie you ever took me to. I was so frightened I could barely look at the screen.
Well, you grabbed my hand and held on tight. 6 years, you still haven't figured out that's why I picked that movie?
And here he comes, ladies and gentlemen, Electro, the Westinghouse Moto Man.
He looks dangerous. Those robots can go berserk, you know.
Stop. You see, all I need to do is to speak into this phone, and Electro does exactly what I tell him to do. Sometimes.
Listen, he just wants to tell us about the wonderful electric kitchen over there.
Well, I guess this one's a friendly one.
And the electric cars we'll all be driving.
A very fine grain of 48 electrical relays.
They say in the world of 1960, the whole countryside will be crisscrossed by 6-lane highways, and the cities will all be built up with skyscrapers.
Yeah, sure. Tell me another one.
Let's go see a show. This one looks really big.
Burns up all colored show records. It stands absolutely unrivaled. Mighty fancy for a colored show.
Right from Broadway, it's Bill Bojangles Robinson and the Hot Mikado. It's only 40 cents to see it. Look, honey, there's Bill Robinson himself.
Now here's my kind of show. Billy Rose's Aqua Cave, with Olympic swimmers Eleanor Holm and Johnny Weissmuller. And the Aqua Bells. Well, there are plenty of seats.
That was just lovely. Where are they all going?
Hey, that's Morton Downey introducing Eleanor Holmes. And there's Johnny Weissmuller. Looks just like he did in that Tarzan movie, doesn't he? I used to look like that, you know, in my younger days.
Boy Scouts from all over the world. Here are some of the projects they've made.
You know, when we have a kid, I'm going to see that he goes into the Boy Scouts.
How do you know that we'll have a boy?
Well, if it's a girl, you two can cook in that electric kitchen.
Here are the WPA puppeteers.
Really need a government-funded puppet show. I mean, could these girls make a living playing with dolls before the Depression?
Now, dear, times have been hard for everyone. But Mr. Roosevelt's turned things around at last. And besides, they're very talented.
Yeah, look how she makes that little guy dance.
Admiral Byrd's Penguin Island is over there.
That's not a penguin. I've seen penguins, and that is not a penguin.
I know.
It's a dog.
That reminds me, I'm hungry. There are enough food stands and restaurants here. I wonder which ones are good.
is what we need. No walking and straight to the amusement area.
Here's a fire breather, a man who plays with liquid air, a man who sets his hands on fire, a man who turns a hamburger to stone before your very eyes, a lady who paints pictures on cobwebs, a man who blows different shaped bubbles, Rags the mystery dog who reads your mind.
We all chipped in on it. We were buying the girl. The game was easy. Yeah, we got the girl on for the day. Hey, we got a baby.
Freak animals. Look, a two-headed cow.
It smells just like a barn. Come on, I just ate. You can go see a two-headed cow another day.
Come in and see all these animals. Just as advertised, you'll see them on the inside. Ladies and gentlemen,
a museum of oddities. And on the inside, you're going to see...
Strange but true. I wonder what that is.
They're real freaks, dear. See, a tall girl in a grass skirt and a short girl in a grass skirt. Come on.
3-foot python. You're going to see the giant spider, the octopus, 8-legged monster that can grow over 30 foot in length. You're going
giant
to see
snake.
You.
Of a live man-eating shark, rows and rows of vicious teeth. The barracuda ape, the devilfish from Atlantis. Over 50 different...
See what William Beebe saw a half mile down in the ocean.
Stop! Look through the doorway! Look through the doorway! They're in there right now!
What are these guys doing? The Matterhorn. You'd have to be crazy to strap 2 boards on your feet and slide down a mountain. It'll never catch on in America.
We're both going to need canes after all this walking. Oh my, dear, does the girl have any clothes on?
Well, she's very talented. And look at her 2 birds. She has 2 huge birds.
What did that magician just do?
I don't know. The guy with a microphone had me distracted. That's how they get away with it, you know.
Oh, and there's another magician.
You know what? He's selling the Wonder Mouse. Clever little thing. I bought one off a guy like that in Atlantic City once. Never could make it work, though. And a trick deck of cards. I forget where I put them.
Frozen alive. All of these girls?
Just one, I think. Look, they're going to put her in that big slab of ice.
She's hardly dressed for it.
Look, now she's hardly dressed at all.
I'm starting to detect a certain theme here. Headless girl. There's a picture of her. How does she live?
It's like the premature baby incubator, Sonny. The scientists study her, and the money from all the people who go to see her pays her medical bills. Plus, I think there's some government money for studying her.
That's weird. See where her blood goes through all these tubes into her body?
I see she's put on a little weight since they made those pictures outside. Treatment must be working. Look, here it is, the Crystal Lassies. Remember my friend Al? He knows one of these girls. He said to go around back and say hello to her. Her name is Mavis. Come on, it's all right. He just said to mention his name.
Do any of the girls that work at this fair wear any clothes? At least she doesn't have two huge...
What?
Birds. Well, you sure do get around, don't you?
Come on, she seemed like a sweet girl. You talked to her.
Yeah, but I was just being polite and I didn't know where to look. Now what? Oh, Jack Sheridan's Living Magazine covers. When do we get to any naked guys? It's all naked women.
Come on, honey, it's artistic. It's culture.
Like those physical culture magazines I found in the closet? Is that a fun house? Salvador Dali's Dream of Venus. He's a famous artist.
Well, she doesn't look too enthusiastic about it. Where do they get girls who'll do that in public?
Oh, honey, there are a dime a dozen, believe me.
But right out here where kids can see them like that.
They don't let the kids inside. Well, you could call it 20,000 legs under the sea.
You'd look good in a bathing suit like that.
Now, dear.
No, I could get your bathing suit and take a pair of scissors.
All right, that's enough. Oh my goodness, how does she hold her breath that long?
I read somewhere it's a trick. They do it with mirrors or something.
Third position is class being ordered at 23, number 69. The first round owned by the KP3 cars as well. John
Now, each one of these lovely ladies will dance for you on the inside. Look at them, aren't they beauties? They appear before you just the way nature made them. Their modesty protected only by these blue kimonos. Fellas, I want you to study these kimonos very carefully, because once you get inside, you're never going to see them again. Looks like she's having some kind of fit.
It's very artistic. Look, honey, a monkey. Isn't he cute?
Those same boys are still sitting there.
I don't blame the scouts. My feet are that tired I could sit down and stay put for a while. Look, honey, midgets. See how they all live here in this little midget town, just like real people? Aren't they cute?
I don't know any town that needs that many postmen. We could go on some rides. Remember our first date? We rode on a carousel. Want to try to grab the brass ring?
Aren't you kind of big for that now? It's like a Sunday drive with you. We drive around and around, but we never get anywhere. magical after dark. I love all the lights.
I don't know how some of these show people keep going from dawn to after midnight. He doesn't look so happy. Look, this'll scare the heck out of the kids. They've made the Perisphere into a giant Halloween pumpkin. I tell you, hon, you don't see something like this every day.
After all we've been through in the last few years, it seems like things are really looking up, maybe, you know? I think things are going to be more wonderful from now on. I'm kind of chilly.
Want me to hold you a little closer?
Yeah.
The fair reopened for its second season after the winter break, but it reopens in 1940 to a different world. The Polish pavilion was closed because the Nazis had overrun Poland. The Russians, never really comfortable with the spin America put on the fair's high ideals, not only closed their pavilion, they tore it down. And on July 4th, 1940, a bomb was set in the British pavilion, killing and injuring several people. Our friends overseas were in dire straits. France had already fallen. Britain was being bombed. Most Americans still hoped to avoid entering the war. The new theme of the fair this year was For Peace and Freedom. But when the Trilon and Perisphere were demolished at the end of the fair in October 1940, the 4,000 tons of steel that had been used in their construction were sent to munitions factories as scrap metal for wartime. The world, as imagined in 1939 in the World's Fair, never came to be, but it would have been wonderful.
Island, the world's greatest fun frolic, with its beach miles long, all peppered with people, the place where merriment is king. Let's mingle with 1 million folks, folks who are just like all of us, 100,000 youngsters and oldsters, all swimming, playing, or resting, all getting their share of the sun and the fun, all refugees from the city heat, here where the beach meets the cool Atlantic, here in this great whirlpool of joy, here for a lark at Coney Island, world's biggest barrel of fun. Some take it easy on the $4 million boardwalk, while others snap pictures for proof back home that they really were part of this fun-seeking throng. With amusements here, there, and everywhere, it's hard to decide where to start. Rivers of humanity in carnival mood pour through Coney's many streets.
Hurry, hurry, step this way, the strangest sights on the island. Bricks from the four corners of the world. For 2 nickels, 1 dime, a 10th part of $1. We've got the show if you've got the dime. It's just starting, so hurry, hurry. Look 'em over, the lady without a head. There are thin ones, there are fat ones. They're all inside. Zip and Pip, the pin-headed people. A sample of the marvelous freaks you'll see for the price of a small thin dime. You get the whole show now if you hurry, hurry, hurry.
Step right this way, friends. You can't go home without a permanent souvenir. Now take your places. That's right. Now, very still. A big, broad smile. Watch the birdie, and presto, we have Down on the Farm right at Coney Island. Speed demons of tomorrow getting someplace today. Surprises galore, cries and screams of delight in these cars that tilt and slide. From one attraction to another, the eager million moves on. Even the kiddies fly high at Coney. Everybody rides on any and every kind of gadget that means motion, speed, thrills, and laughs. Now, this looks easy, just a matter of hanging on, but hanging on to what? Faster it goes, and here they spill in every direction. It's fun for riders and spectators, too. If it turns and twists or rocks and shakes, it's here at Coney Island. And all that swings in this huge fun center is not on a dance floor. Atlantic Ocean breezes and laughter make appetites keen at Coney. Dinner time is any time, all the time. 1 million hungry people to feed. And the cost begins at a dime. And the youngsters have their own ideas for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Corn on the cob, a Coney specialty. Steaming ears smothered with butter and salt, with thousands of bushels enjoyed every day. But Coney Island's greatest eating invention is the Frankfurter, for it was here, when the place was a sandbar known as Coney Hook, that the hot dog was born. Zowie, it's Coney Island caviar. After dinner, it's time to check your weight. He'll guess within 3 pounds, or it costs you nothing. Coney's most famed free attraction is its Big Bathing Girl Review, where mermaids from near and far vie for honors. Those who brave the surf and those who never go near the water parade before big crowds and critical judges. brunettes and redheads, all so shapely and lovely that the judge's job is exacting. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure to present Miss Coney Island. Here they come, head over heels, upside down. What's the difference? Here at Coney Steeplechase Park, the fun never ends. So let's cool off, high up in the ocean breeze. Shows of every kind invite the crowd. Shows that make us grip our seats with excitement. Shows like this where ferocious tigers from distant lands come to quicken our blood. Fang and claw matched with nerves of steel. Playful fellows, aren't they? One of the cats shows us how they do the tiger rag in Jungle Land. You want to come in? You can if you want. Now, hold your breath. Ah, the man who didn't lose his head. From the jaws of a tiger to the hoopla, and hoopla it surely is. Down she goes, and around, up and down, going nowhere in a hurry. Action, no matter how you land, so long as it's action. Now for the good old merry-go-round, carousel, flying horses. Whatever we call them, they afford a merry whirl for youngsters from 6 to 60. Then action again on whirling discs. Or shooting the chutes at a mile a minute. Or standing on your head and seeing the world upside down in this loop-a-plane. Or riding to the top of the park to see the whole show, only to face a vertical drop of 90 feet. Some scream, some grow pale, but everybody shouts. It never seems to end. Drop after drop, rise and twist and turn. But at last it's happy landing, and my oh my, where have we been? Dusk descends. Night crowds pour in to swell the mighty merrymaking throng. Millions of lights frame the resort in a pattern of moving joy. Fantastic shapes pierce the crisp coastal air. The sky becomes a living lacework of brilliance and color. And long into the night, the crowds make merry with laughter, song, and fun. Coney Island, a mecca by day, a glittering spectacle by night, the dynamic fun land of a nation.
The 1962 World's Fair in Seattle was called the Century 21 Exposition. Now that we're living in Century 21, what do we think of the fair's exciting predictions for life in the Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon world of 2001 and beyond? The Space Needle is the most famous remnant of the fair. It's still the pride of Seattle. As for the predictions, well, in the 21st century, we'll all wear plastic clothing, our appliances will be solar powered, and we'll eat food made from cotton and wood waste. There was a food court, possibly the first one of its kind, sort of a vision of mall food to come, but there was no cotton or wood pulp on the menu. Christian Science, Billy Graham, and the Mormons all competed for souls with separate pavilions. Sinclair Oil offered Dino Land, and there was the unappealingly named Festival of Gas. The Gay Way, gay didn't mean then what it means now, had a handful of rides. But there was no shortage of adult entertainment in its own just off to the side section called Show Street. A Night in Paradise was a Las Vegas-style burlesque revue featuring topless showgirls. And Les Poupées de Paris was a Sid and Marty Krofft puppet show featuring topless showgirl marionettes. Let's look around the fair with a stop at the Bell Telephone Pavilion.
is a world of communication, tailored for your needs of today and tomorrow, bringing together all people in a new era of understanding. Keeping in touch by means of the amazing new Bell Boy is the Bell System's answer today for doctors, salesmen, delivery men, or anyone who must be available at all times in the fast-paced world of Century 21. When someone calls and you are out, you can be reached by dialing your Bell Boy code number. When you get a signal on the Bell Boy, you can go to a phone to call your office or home and get the message.
Hi, this is the Bell System's new touch-tone dialing. With this indicator, you see how many seconds you saved the new way. Let's try it. Okay, I'll race you. Ready? Go. I beat you. As we look to the future, we see many extras for tomorrow's telephone users. One day, you may be able to call home and automatically turn off the oven.
Yes, you're seeing it all. As the present unfolds, what the future beholds, you're elated, fascinated. See the art shows, walk the thoroughfare, on the boulevards leading everywhere. Ride a rickshaw, dine on caviar, you can telephone a star. It's a wonderful age on a beautiful stage, demonstrated for you, been created for you. It's just a part of the thrilling start of Century 21.
Freedomland, a bit of old America in the Bronx. It was only open 4 years, from 1960 to 1964. If this film is any indication, its educational theme didn't work out. The kids don't seem exactly thrilled, and the employee looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. Somebody should have asked the kids what they wanted to see. The owners tried jazzing it up with rides and shows, but it was too late. The nearby World's Fair killed it for good. After the big build-up I've given it, why watch the movie? Well, it's only 7 minutes, and if you're thinking of investing your life savings opening a theme park, it's an example of what not to do.
Yep, here comes the 4th Cavalry Stage, right on time, moving along the lonely road through Indian country, heading west. Ha! Ha! That'll reach the Rocky Mountains by sundown. Up on top, you could be anywhere, the trail doesn't have any signposts after you leave Fort Cavalry. You could be anywhere on the Great Plains in the 1800s, when the West was really wild. Now, this may be Indian territory, and it may look like the Old West, but the time is today, and the place is Freedomland, a big entertainment park in the Bronx, in the state of New York, just half an hour by subway from Times Square in New York City. Here, they've built the places and the buildings representing 200 years of American history. And riding shotgun across the Great Plains is only one part of the story of our country. Hey, what's happening over there in Chicago? Fire! Look at that! It's the Chicago Fire of 1871. Hurry up, men. We're going to need volunteers for this one. Everybody man the pump. We've got to get water on the fire or the whole city will go. Faster, men. Keep that pump going. Mrs. O'Leary's cow has kicked over a lantern, and the flames are spreading fast. Keep that pump going back there. It's getting out of control. This fireman doesn't look very worried. Here at Freedomland, they have the Chicago Fire every half hour, every day. And the gas flames behind the windows of those fireproof buildings always go out on schedule. But it's lots of fun because it's make-believe. In Chicago, in 1871, they didn't have fireproof buildings, and the big fire was an important event in American history, brought to life at Freedomland. Down on Cortlandt Street, they've built little old New York, just the way it was between 1850 and 1890. In those days, horse-drawn trolleys were the latest thing for short trips in the city. If you had to go out of town, maybe as far as 5 miles, you rented a horse if you didn't have one of your own. If you planned a real long trip, 100 miles or more, you took the train. There's the Santa Fe Railroad train, getting ready for the long, dangerous journey to San Francisco. Here's another way people traveled in the 1800s, on a stern-wheel steamboat. All aboard! The paddle wheel starts turning, and away you go. Traveling along, you can get a good idea of how our country looked in the days when there were only a few roads, and the stern-wheelers and riverboats were used to carry most of the heavy freight. The bow of the boat is a good place to stand if you want to see what's coming up around the next bend. If your mother lets you stay there. There's the Santa Fe Special, heading west, just like the days when there was only one railroad line from coast to coast. On board one of the big stern-wheelers at Freedomland, you take a trip back to the days when there were only a few cities on the east coast of our country, and most of the land west of the Mississippi was a wide-open frontier. So let's go ashore and see some of the other reminders of our past here in this showcase of American history. In the untamed Northwest, you can take a ride in one of the bull boats, traveling past a trapper's cabin back to the time of the historic Lewis and Clark expedition. You'll follow the route of the fur trappers, who were the first white men to see many parts of our country because they had to move farther and farther away from the new villages and towns to trap and hunt. Look, there's a moose looking us over. Don't move, he might charge the boat. There's an Indian carving a totem pole in a village just as it might have looked to a boatload of fur trappers as they kept pushing northwest. These Indians look friendly, but no telling what's coming up around the next bend. If you want to see more of Freedomland, the best thing to do is go up, way up, high. Riding in an ore bucket from the Tucson Mining Company, high above the buildings and the people. From here, you can see most of Freedomland and pick out the spots you want to visit next time. 205 acres of fun and tradition. From San Francisco in 1906 across the Great Plains of the 1800s, through the old Southwest of 1890 to the not-so-distant future at Satellite City. 200 years of American history. From the days when herds of buffalo roamed the West to the present and beyond. There are thousands of things to see. Too many to look at on this trip. But all of them are fun. And all of them will help you appreciate the facts in your history books. This is history brought to life. The history of the country that gave this place its name, Freedomland. Now it's time we got back on solid ground again, back to the Bronx in the state of New York. So long.
Gaze in wonder on the Unisphere, stainless steel, 12 stories high and gleaming in the sun, on the very site originally developed for the 1939 World's Fair. Peace through understanding was the theme of the 1965 New York World's Fair. After attending, what most visitors understood was that there were new things to consume every day and that they were fully expected to buy most of them. The House of Good Taste was a showcase for everything from construction materials to furniture and appliances, all very necessary if you were going to be considered a person with good taste. The Moody Bible Institute presented Sermons from Science, illustrated with, essentially, a Carnival electric chair act. The Festival of Gas was back, as was yet another General Motors Futurama. Pepsi's pavilion introduced the song It's a Small World, and people have been trying to get it out of their heads ever since. Michelangelo's Pietà was sent over as the centerpiece of the Vatican Pavilion, but there were fewer visitors than planners expected, and most attractions fared poorly. New York's planner, Robert Moses, who had almost single-handedly put a damper on the carnival atmosphere of Coney Island, ordered that the amusement zone would have no girl shows, nothing but uplifting entertainments, like Dick Button's Ice Travaganza, a modest aquacade, and To Broadway with Love, a musical revue, and that none of them should be advertised. All three closed in 3 months to a total loss of millions. Neither did the old-time entertainment in the music hall set up by Angus Wynne, founder of the Six Flags empire of amusement parks, attract people who came to see everything space age. But after the first year, when it became obvious that the fair was not attracting nearly enough patrons and was in debt, Moses relaxed his puritanical stance, and the fair quickly added 69 new bars, including 9 discotheques with go-go dancers. It didn't help. But since everybody's supposedly doing it, let's go to the fair.
Practically everybody in the world is coming to the fair. The Wilson family is driving in from out west. Everyone is coming to the New York World's Fair. Troop 295 from the Bronx. And the traveling teachers from Kansas, Miss Abbott and Mrs. Todd. And the Wilsons got here at last. There is the symbol of the fair, the great Unisphere. Here's a pavilion with a musical spectacle. Here's a salute to the children of the world. A suspended theater with a film on the joy of living. A show where the audience revolves around the stage. The Chandras find a machine that playfully demonstrates the law of averages. Here's a new way to go to a show. The whole grandstand is lifted up into the theater. Soap bubbles reveal the beauty of geometry. Miss Abbott and Mrs. Todd are going into a show on the history of communication, from tom-tom to Telstar. The Wilsons set off to explore the pavilions. Yay, ice cream! The Wilsons enter a pavilion with a roof like a stained glass rose window. An elevator goes up the highest tower at the fair. Miss Abbott and Mrs. Todd visit Indonesia. And here's a late arrival coming to the fair in his own way. He finds the world of the Old West. Wilson kids need a rest, and so do their parents. So they leave them in a nursery for a while. At dusk, a new fair comes to life.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed our look today at what turns out to have been a surprising amount of Carnival and a surprising amount of surviving footage.
You've seen Treasure Island at the height of its beauty, with every building bright with color, when every fountain sparkled in the sun, when every court, every road, every hallway was filled with people, when the banners flew and the music crashed out. Now Telling You shows you Treasure Island as it is today, abandoned and deserted. The plaster is cracking, the fountains are still, the flagpoles are bare. There's nobody on Treasure Island today but the seagulls. The gateway is bare, but not in the way it used to be. The barkers are gone, the girls are gone, the giant crane and the octopus and the roller coaster are still. Will they move once more? Will the World's Fair of the West ever be seen again in all its brilliant color, with its crowds and its music? Or will it always be barren like this? We don't know. That's up to the bankers and the creditors. But the giant cash register, which used to turn up the big attendance figures, is all closed up, and it doesn't seem to be in working order. So perhaps this is goodbye to the Golden Gate International Exposition.
It's kind of lonely to look at this parking lot right now. There's nothing going on. I'm kind of reminded of that story of St. Peter waiting at the pearly gates. And right at the same time come up a famous preacher and a bunch of carnies drinking and smoking and carrying on. He waves the carnies on in. The preacher says, "What on earth are you talking about, those sinful people in heaven? And here you are questioning me?" St. Peter says, "Don't worry, they'll only be here a week." Well, the carnival's been and gone, but don't worry, it'll be back.